Hello, everyone. Good evening. Um, I did promise that I would do a second stream, and hopefully this is working. And here we are. Um, yes, I did. Hello. I did say I would do this probably a little bit earlier, but as it happened, I was busy doing various things. Let's try and move that around. Yes, I probably am. Can you still hear me? That's some looks like it's some excellent video stuff on there. We don't need that, do we? But maybe if I just do that, it'll stop it. I did say I would come on during the action, but ultimately it got away from me, and I had stuff to do. But we have finished recording the daily football briefing, which is lovely. Make sure you subscribe to that on your podcast player of choice. And such was the championship action. I think it deserved a little bit of a mention. And I suppose we'll just get any questions or comments you want in. Otherwise, I'll just talk for a few minutes because this is kind of a bit later than I thought and a bit impromptu. But I'll just check that we're live where we need to be, which is always a sensible way of doing these things. He says, he says, he says, he says, he says, is it live? Oh, I've got an advert. That's funny. No idea if I'm live on Twitter, but I've tried Twitter this time rather than Facebook. So if you're watching on Facebook earlier, apologies. But there we go. Yes, we do seem to be live on there. So that is good. Yeah, all good. So that's working a treat. Oh, bless you, Simon. You're doing well there. Top work. So yeah, quite the evening, which we will go through. I'd love to do. I mean, I like my ticker from earlier. That doesn't really work, does it? I don't know if I can be bothered to update it. I'll need a different Twitter. I'll tell you what. Let's go on. I have just caught the Leeds game, and I watched a fair chunk of the Ipswich game too. Just remarkable day of Championship football. Just so good at this time of year, whether your team's involved in it or not. It's just the best to watch it all unfold. And I think they were the results, weren't they? At the top of the table? You'd like to think I'd be able to get that right. So we will see. FPL Hayden, good to see you here, FPL Hayden. Superb performance at the Stadium of Light. Totally unexpected, but nice surprise. Yes, indeed. That was free scoring Blackburn. Sammy Schmodic, I like calling him Schmodic, scoring all the goals. He didn't score all the goals, but brilliant performance for Blackburn, and that probably is enough to see them safe. It's not going to take much, is it, at this point? And they shouldn't really be in that sort of predicament, but they are. So that's the way to deal with that. Let's have a little look then, shall we? Because I think there might be some more Leeds reaction coming up on Sky in a bit. But if we can hopefully just share this with you, we can talk about it a bit. But there we are. That is the table as it stands at this very moment. Ipswich are top on 87 points with 6 games to go. I mean, what kind of points total are they going to end up with? That is phenomenal. One of these teams, I mean, all 3 of those teams are going to be in 90s. It's quite phenomenal. There's obviously quite a few points that have been given away at the bottom there, but it's very interesting that Leicester have that game in hand. Kind of feel like that defeat does really, really damage Southampton's chances of finishing in the top 2. They've still got to go to Leicester, and they've still got to go to Leeds. But just checking. I am still there's still a bit of work things to make sure that I'm still on top of that. Yes, Southampton have still got to go to Leicester and to Leeds. And they've still got 2 games in hand on Leeds and 1 on Leicester. So, it's not done, but it's just looks so difficult for Southampton now. And that isn't really a surprise given the points totals. They're so ridiculously high. One of those teams is going to be a very good team and it's not going to make it. I would worry a little bit for Leicester, maybe psychologically, if they missed out now, but they should have enough, really, even playing in the playoffs, judging from the quality playing against Norwich today, the way they move the ball, they're composed. Yes, they give away silly errors and they've had a psychological issue in recent games, but ultimately that team should be going up. So I would still probably think that top 3 are the 3 that will go up. It's just a question of which order, although there may be more questions of Ipswich if they do end up in the playoffs, especially if they end up coming up against Norwich. We should touch on the top 6, actually, because you can see here Norwich lost, but they're still in a pretty good position. They've still got that gap. They have to go to Preston. I think Preston lost, didn't they? Coventry lost today. West Brom only drew, but they've actually improved their position. So you'd imagine West Brom will finish 5th from there. They probably should. I still feel Norwich should be finishing 6th out of this position. It's a nasty defeat for Hull, but given who they were playing, maybe you have to take that was just a very difficult one, and they'll get around that. But yeah, fascinating. I'll touch on the games a little bit that I saw, and obviously get your questions in if you want to ask any. This won't be a long one, but we'll rattle through it. Hey, Gabby. Gabby asks, do you think Norwich have any chance of going up? Well, I mean, they definitely do. I think. I mean, they're only going to do it in the top 6, obviously. I think they will finish in the top 6. 207 people watching this. That can't be right. Have I been infiltrated by something? Why are so many people watching this? Anyway, that can't be right. Yeah. I mean, Norwich do have a chance of going up. Do I expect them to go up through the playoffs? I don't know if I can see it really, and I don't know if I want them to, because having often said about you just take the opportunity to go up if you get it, and obviously the financial rewards are there. This team is miles off being Premier League quality, as are, in my view, all of the teams in the Championship. That gap is so difficult to bridge. So maybe just go for it. But I think that top 4 are still by some distance the best teams in the division. And I think Norwich supporters can vouch for that, because while they've kind of been getting on the back of their own team after losing at Leicester and not really giving it much of a go in the second half, that owed a lot to Leicester. They are a very good team, and there's a gulf in class, I thought. Maybe not psychologically, but in terms of quality on the ball and all that sort of stuff, it just really wasn't. They weren't on the same level, and I thought that showed. So I think Norwich, although they've been in really good form this year, are well short of where they need to be. And so I thoroughly expect the 3 promoted teams to come from those top 4 teams. I'd be surprised if West Brom did it, but I probably... Well, I don't know. I feel like they're more capable than Norwich, but maybe that's not fair, because Norwich have beaten West Brom and done pretty well in those 2 games. So yeah, I mean, Norwich will obviously. I think Norwich will finish in the top 6. I don't think they will go up. I think that will rest on the other guys who are stronger. FPL Hayden thought Ipswich looked average against Blackburn on Friday. They were, but they did win, and they looked average and they won the game, Hayden, which is something that they've. And you're right, insane ability to win points late on, which is not a fluke if you keep doing it. It comes through your own belief, probably a degree of game management. The coach can take great credit, and use of the bench, the player's own belief in that situation. And sometimes it's just a natural momentum that as a team, you're in that phase of being able to do it. And Ipswich are definitely there. It's remarkable. I honestly thought Southampton will win that game, especially once they came from behind and they were leading 2-1. But actually, they didn't really make the most of their opportunities in the second half, Southampton especially. And then as the game wore on, I thought the sending off was harsh. I personally thought, I can't remember which, I think it was the guy on loan he was at Burnley last season, and Harwood Bellis, is it? off the top of my head, I'm sure you'll correct me if I'm wrong. Apologies if I have got that wrong. I thought he was going to cover in time. Personally, I thought it was quite harsh that Bree got sent off because I thought the cover was going to come across, and Leif Davis still had a lot to do at that point. But it doesn't get checked. Referee makes the decision, and I thought the goal was from Sarmiento was outstanding. I thought he took it so brilliantly, even by botching the first touch. Just the way he prodded that, I thought that was a fantastic goal. And fair play to Ipswich; they are flying, and that is a great win against a really good team at home. And they will arrive at Carrow Road on Saturday, and it's quite difficult because they are a great team in great momentum, but are they also a team that hasn't quite that's got a psychological hurdle when they come up against Norwich? Because that's what it looked like at Portman Road when they probably should have won as well. It'd be really fascinating dynamic to that East Anglian derby. There's still some big wounds at Norwich, but the form has helped paper over those for a while. So it'll be a great game at Carrow Road. Cannot wait, and I will be there, which will be exciting. Indeed. What else have we got in? Have a look. Andy White. Hello, Andy White. Can we have another Michael Bailey post Norwich game video before the end of the season? Well, as I said, I'm there on Saturday, so maybe we should bring back a video verdict for the derby, and you can all blame me for the fact that Norwich have lost, which hopefully, for Norwich point of view, won't happen. Obviously. Sounds like I'm done on the podcast. So yeah, Daily Football Briefing. Make sure you subscribe to that. That's on your podcast player of choice. It's all voiced over. Give it a listen if you haven't heard it before. It's the ideal vehicle to catching up with all the football news each morning. The Daily Football Briefing on your podcast player. There we go. That's my plug. I'm just leaving the championship table there, and I probably shouldn't. If I've got Norwich fans on there, that's probably the last thing they want to look at. But there we go. Baroness Barnes. Is this Ashley? Is this actually Ashley asking me about David Wagner's tactics? I thought, I don't know. I mean, it would be really interesting to know how much of it is tactical and how much of it is attitude. I thought Norwich were horribly passive from the second half, from the moment the second half kicked off. And, you were 15 minutes into it and Norwich had barely crossed the halfway line. And it was only then once they went 2-1 behind that they started venturing forward. But again, the dynamic from Leicester had changed by that point. They were able to sit back a bit more. So Leicester had total control of the game, just like I thought they did at Carrow Road. And whether that was just because of the pressure that was on Norwich, but, Wagner and Norwich do have previous for being very, you're just lacking that, wanting to protect what they've got rather than trying to go out and win the game. And I think I don't think Norwich fans really want to see it, and I think it causes issues. Leicester fans may feel that sometimes they've done that themselves, but I thought they were in total control today, and Kieran Dewsbury Hall was the best player on the pitch by a comfortable margin. So I think they were unsurprising David Wagner tactics, but I think they were playing a very good team. So I think there's only so much you can do to complain about it, but I understand why people are complaining about it. FPL Hayden. Feels like Southampton are out of the race now. Yeah, it is remarkable. The top three could all get 100 plus points. Yeah, James Bree was sent off. It was the other guy who was coming across, which let me go and check now. I think, is it Harwood Bellis? I should know, shouldn't I? I should know. But if I go to Ipswich, will it take me through to their games? Or is it just going to be awkward? Maybe if I keep going down. It'll take me lots of Ipswich here, isn't it? There we go. This is exciting. This is what we all want to see. Lineups. Thank you, of course, to SofaScore, the official partner of the Michael Bailey social medias. Taylor Harwood Bellis. I should never doubt myself. I thought he was coming across, and I think he would have got there. But James Bree was sent off instead, and I'm not a referee, so what do I know? So yes, the top of the championship. What an exciting place to be. Daniel Farker's just about to speak, so I might have a quick little listen to see what he's saying. He sounds relieved because Leeds weren't very good for a lot of that second half. Hull were decent, I thought. But of course, Daniel Farker is going to say how tired all his players are. They're very tired. They're all playing for their national teams. Yeah, I'm still listening, which doesn't make for a great stream, does it really? But Daniel Farker is glad his team didn't lose their nerve. By the way, Daniel James' finish for the third goal is sensational. I know the goalkeeper is out, but he's 45 yards out on the touchline. It's just sensational. Well done, Dan James. Fantastic. Feel for him a bit because he'd have got a bit of stick after that penalty, obviously, and being saved in Wales shootout and a whole country missing out on the Euros, which is very painful. It wasn't solely his fault that they couldn't beat Poland over 90 minutes. I thought there was going to be a bit kicking off with Leeds when Pirro wanted to take the penalty and Somerville's was very insistent on taking it, but he took a very good penalty and that was job done, wasn't it? So Daniel's talk. He's never been the quick answerer of a question, Daniel Farker, but he does know how to win a championship, so he's very happy, of course. I will wrap this up in a few minutes, so if you've got any other questions, get them in. But I did just want to touch on this and I did want to turn up because I did say I would arrive and then I didn't. And if you were hoping I'd be on Facebook, apologies. I've opted for Twitter on this one, or X. So if you're watching on X, thank you. What do you reckon? Should I do these on X as well as Twitter and Twitch, or should I do them on Facebook as well as YouTube and Twitch? I lose track. So many bloody platforms. Thanks for watching. I'm still listening to Daniel Farker. The luggage enjoys Farker's honest press conferences. Yes, I think he's a very good communicator, which helps. And I think it tips in very nicely to how he manages to get a team operating in a very good way. Calls it pragmatic and that they ground out a result. So, oh, that's big. Do I like the bigger one? I think I quite like the bigger one there. That's better, isn't it? Let's stick with that. Someone's got... Oh, I missed that. Someone had a cold and a temperature. Sam Byram scored as well, didn't he? That was fun. Nice to see Sam Byram scoring a goal. Doesn't happen very often. Many problems for Leeds, but of course they still win. Daniel Farker very happy with them digging in. Don't know if he's going to say too much more that's interesting here. I'm listening to him on Sky Sports, by the way. You could probably listen to him yourself, which would of course be watch along. It's worth me flagging, by the way. I did a full watch along of the Leicester Norwich game earlier, which was a lot of fun. First time I've done it. I'm in the same t-shirt. I have eaten all my chocolate eggs, and there are some clips of me reacting to the goals. But it was fun. It was a fun experience, and I shall do it again for something or other. I'm not sure what or when. But yes, Daniel Farker ending with the fact that all they can do is take care of their own performances and results, which brings us back to this, doesn't it? Who is going to go up from that lot? Ipswich were always a team I thought would fall away, and they just haven't. So it's fascinating. But yeah, Daniel Farker cutting a usual calm figure. And there we go. Right, let's get through some of these final questions, shall we? I'll leave that up there so you can all look at it. Baroness Barnes says, yes, it is I, the Baroness. Well, I assume that's Ashley then. If Norwich performs a miracle and goes up, will the owners actually invest heavily for once? Well, the owners may well be different, because the owners would theoretically be the Atanasios and his group, I would assume. By that point, we will see. But I don't know if I see them throwing money at it. There may be a bit more money. Maybe they won't, but they'll have some money to spend rather than just having to reinvest what they get and only spending a bit of it. Maybe they'll have all the money to spend, but to be honest, it's not how much money, it's how you spend it. And this season has been so worrying for the gap between the Premier League and Championship, because Burnley utterly walked the Championship last year and they completely botched it. They've recruited the wrong sorts of players, they have gone for inexperience, and they've just been torn a new one in the Premier League. Sheffield United miles off it, and they sold their best player in Sanderberg to Burnley. So they're just replaying Ipswich's winning goal. Sarmiento, it's just such a brilliant goal. So it's a major issue, I think, and for any team that goes up this season, however good that is, that's all irrelevant. It doesn't matter how good you are in the Championship. It's completely different kettle of fish once you've gone up. And even though Luton have done brilliantly well, that is very much a one-off situation, really, because if they happen to yo-yo, the second season would be very different for them too. Oh, Jerry, what am I up to now? Yes, I am still at the Athletic. I'm effectively a live journalist for the Athletic, so I'm covering lots of live events and hosting lots of things like that, and their build up to the Premier League weekends and various matches like the Man City Arsenal game last night I was doing. I'm also hosting podcasts, including the Daily Football Briefing, which I've voiced over and you'll be able to hear in the morning. So make sure you're subscribed to that. Have a look for it, Daily Football Briefing, on your podcast player of choice. So all those things, really. It's a step away from Norwich, doing other things. I think, that's been really enjoyable, really enjoyed it, looking forward to keeping on doing it. And probably now at a point where I'll do a few more bits and pieces with my social medias. Russell Martin, I'm getting to hear. I didn't hear him earlier. I think, and I've seen some of this on social media, but I think he was happy to diminish Ipswich's effectiveness before the sending off. Also didn't think it was a sending off. I mean, I do agree. I do think Harwood Bellis gets across. I don't think it's a red. It was still a fair way out. I was a bit surprised when I saw it given, if I'm honest, but yeah, Russ, happy. Kieran McKenna doesn't know what's happening. That's just a nice quote. So there we go. I hope that answers that, Jerry. I'm still around. Don't go anywhere. James not happy with David Wagner's limited management from 1-0 up. And yes, and it does show Norwich's limitations. I mean, as I've said, I'm surprised they're anywhere near it. I thought they'd be miles off it, and the quality of the Championship has been short of what I expected, which is, I think, has played a part rather than Norwich's own abilities. What do you make of the bottom? 2 out of 3 Wednesday. I was looking at that. I think Plymouth have. Well, I think Ian Foster was going. If he may be going, that shouldn't be breaking that. I'm pretty sure it's been confirmed by now. But if not, you've all got an exclusive there. But yeah, so that's another change of manager for them. Huddersfield, there is. Rotherham are obviously gone. I think Wednesday, that's a terrible result for them today. And Huddersfield seem to be sort of digging in a bit. I would imagine Millwall and Birmingham will stay out of trouble and everyone else above them. So I would say it's probably 3 from 4. And yeah, I would worry about Plymouth from here. I reckon Gary Rout might well get Birmingham out of it. Excuse me, I've been talking a lot. That's my view. We'll see. I will probably be wrong. Do I miss the feeling of Carrow Road teetering on the edge of despair? No, not really. No, nor being blamed for it, which seemed to happen a lot last season. So no, they can manage themselves for it. I will always love the club, of course, but that was a tough 12 months last year, and I didn't appreciate some of the things that went on. So good luck to those running the place. David Pascoe says his heart says Town will finally break the winless run in the derby on Saturday. The head goes for a 2-2 draw, which is wonderfully specific. Psychologically fascinating, as I said, because I don't really understand how Ipswich didn't win at Portman Road and how Norwich just turned that on a bit. So, and given it's been 10 years, but also for Ipswich, imagine it. You haven't beaten Norwich for so long. You rock up at Carrow Road and you've got a chance to win that game and put yourself in a unbelievable position to go on and win automatic promotion, maybe even the Championship. That's not a bad incentive, is it? And as Baroness Barnes has kind of mentioned in that previous post, it still feels like Norwich are literally on the absolute brink of internal catastrophe, and everyone in a mass mutiny. So yeah, happy days. Happy days indeed. But they're going to win a game at some point. I'll be there, so you can all blame me if it all goes wrong. That sounds about right. The luggage. Thank you. Yes. Well, yes. The Athletic is an incredible place to work, and I have incredibly talented colleagues, and it's lovely that I get to facilitate their journalism, I suppose, in a way now with some of the live coverage and podcasts that we do with a great production team and just so many brilliant people. So I'm very lucky. I love it. And what do you like the best, at least? Least. It wouldn't be anything about working at the Athletic. It'd be the job itself, maybe like the late nights and not seeing my boys and wife as much as I'd like to sometimes. But the job is brilliant. I'm very fortunate, and I work with incredible people, and that is by some distance the best element of the job. So I'm lucky, and it's kind of nice. I've dipped into a bit of this today because I haven't done this stuff for a while, so it's nice to do that as well because I enjoy that too. Yes, Saints and Sarah for the big games. Absolutely. Yeah, maybe. Johnny Rowe was big at Portman Road, wasn't he? And he isn't going to make it, apparently. I think he'll be a big miss with the way Norwich are. But there we go. Billy Bob. Hello, Billy Bob. Why did Norwich let Warner, Springett, Quaheta, Ida, and Forshaw go when they were all needed due to injuries? I just don't think they're deemed good enough, and it obviously wasn't working. Forshaw wasn't playing a lot before anyway, and would any of that lot made a particular difference to this season? I'm not necessarily sure they would have done. Possibly Ida, but he's almost a player that needed to move on. So yeah, there we go. I think that's enough for Norwich. I think I'm pretty much done unless anyone has any other questions, but there is the top of the Championship after a brilliant Monday's football. They're just replaying the goals on Sky as they wrap their montage. There's Sarmiento's finish again, which is, I should stop going on about it really, but it's just such a clever goal. I love that. Someone doing something really quickly on initiative is just brilliant. I thought Leicester were very good in difficult circumstances, and that was a great performance from them. As I said, Dewsbury Hall, probably the best player in the Championship, certainly the best player on the pitch today. And they're now about to show Dan James scoring from 50 yards into an open goal, which is a lovely finish. And we have a brilliant Championship run-in to play out over the coming weeks, which I cannot wait for. I see your final question, Baroness Barnes. I'm not going to address it. Good luck to Stuart Webber climbing Mount Everest, which I think is in a few weeks. He's doing it for a great cause. I hope it raises loads of money. Good on him for doing that. And with that, I reckon we're there, aren't we? He says very high pitched. This is my full face. Remember, daily football briefing. Pick it up in the morning. You can have a listen and catch up on all the football news. This has been a pleasure to do some live streaming. The watch along was loads of fun. I'm definitely going to do that. I'll just do a different game. What game shall I do? I'll do that. And various other social media stuff. So keep an eye on that on the usual places. But thanks for joining me. I hope this worked on the old Twitter. There's a lot of people watching. I'm not used to it. It must be like people on Twitter. Maybe it's the bots. Love the bots. I can't see any Twitter interactions, actually. Before I go, maybe I should just check to see if I've got 7 million notifications from people on X who are like, please answer this question. My experience of X in recent weeks is that I do this sort of stuff, and there's nothing there. So that's probably what will happen. And that is indeed what has happened. What a sorry state of affairs it is on poor old X. It used to be so good. What an utter waste. And on that rant, thank you for a lovely Easter Monday. Hope you've all had a good time of it. And have a brilliant rest of your Easter holidays. I will be back at some point in some form, some way, somehow. Until then, I will leave you with what is now the way that I end this. First, I'm going to take my ticker off, which I'm very proud of, my ticker. glad that's worked a treat. Look, I've even spelt everything right. Doesn't always happen. Sub editors will tell you that. So that's lovely. Goodbye, ticker. Let me move on to a bit of Feed the Ducks to play that in the background. It's my favorite. For a bit of ambient move. It's highly likely at some point that I'm going to, well, as I've said to JJ Bull and have said live repeatedly, my sole aim here really is just to try and be a below grade JJ Bull copy, because I love him. He's a hero and much better at all this than me. But I do kind of like to do some live music. That'd be a bit of a brunch. I wouldn't have talking about football. But in the meantime, listen, watch JJ do it because he's brilliant. Right, it's late. I need to go to bed. So do you, unless you're not in England. At which point you could probably do something else. So I'll leave you with Feeding the Ducks. I will leave you for the evening. Have a wonderful Easter and see you anon, he said. You know, you've always done it. Cheerio, goodbye. Ta.